welcome to WrestleMania Axxess.
Can I have some decorum, please?
We better make these questions good, otherwise I'm leaving.
We've got some incredible fans around ringside, and they have come up with some questions for you. So we're going to start with Patrick from Detroit. Patrick asks, which match that you've wrestled in are you most proud of, and why?
The match that I'm most proud of is probably a match I had with John Cena in 2010. It was the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and it was the one where I think the stipulation was if I beat him, he had to become part of the Nexus or something like that. And anyway, it was a cool match. It was pretty much the first big test I'd had on my own in WWE. It was the first high-level singles match I'd had at that point. So yeah, that's probably my favorite match.
Now, you mentioned Nexus, so I'm going to skip back to this question that I saw. This question, when are you bringing back the Nexus?
You know, I'm down for bringing back the Nexus sometime. Whether we have the same guys we had originally, I'm not sure. A couple of the guys aren't around anymore, but you know, I'll do it tomorrow. But it really, ultimately, isn't my decision, so I will see about that one.
That's weird. I'll be leaving tomorrow. Good timing. After your superior performance in Dead Man Down, when will you get a leading role in a WWE film? That's Michelle from Philadelphia.
You know, I kind of feel that to be the leading man in a film, you need to be a bit of a pretty boy, and I don't really feel like I've got that down.
You're sexy!
For me personally, I'd like to be the leading bad guy in a Bond film or something like that. Being the bad guy than the good guy, so I don't think there's going to be a leading man role for me anytime soon.
You can be my leading man!
Matt from Brooklyn would like to know, with the NXT becoming bigger than ever, which NXT superstar do you think will be the next big thing?
You know, I could probably name about 10 NXT superstars I think are going to be huge, but the guy who's really stood out the most for me, and someone I'm very proud of because he's also an Englishman, is the man you just saw right now, Adrian Neville. I've been watching wrestling since I was about 8 years old. I've been wrestling for over 10 years, and I've pretty much seen everything there is to see. And as a high flyer, if you're a fan of that style, there literally has never been anyone better than him, in my opinion, in terms of his abilities and his, you know, acrobatics and stuff like that. So I think he's going to go a long way, and I see there's a ton of British people here and English flags and stuff like that. I'm the same as all of you, you know, I'm really proud to see a guy like that come here and do so well, so he's going to be a big star.
Have you ever thought about going back into recruitment?
Definitely not. That was a pretty dark period in my life, sitting in an office staring at a screen all day and taking phone calls. So yeah, there's no way I would ever do that again.
Here's a random one. Wes from New Orleans wants to know your favorite Hulk Hogan movie, Suburban Commando or Rocky III?
Sex with muscles!
I think I'd have to go with Rocky III. I'm a huge fan of all the Rocky films, apart from Rocky V, which was obviously terrible. So, yeah, Thunder Lips and Rocky III, that's definitely up there with one of my favorites.
Okay. Do you have any bad news today?
You know, I kind of feel naked up here, dressed like this, without my gavel and my big podium and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to refrain from giving out some bad news. But I can assure you, pay very close attention to the events of the upcoming weekend, because I do have a special bad news surprise in store on one of the events. But I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay. Who is your favorite active boxer?
Oh, good one. It's a good question.
That's a good question. I was actually just trying to think of a few British boxers that I like, but definitely Tyson Fury is a huge heavyweight from the UK. He's very cocky, he's a very big guy. He's actually about 6'9", so he's bigger than me. Former bare knuckle fighter too. He's from a gypsy fighting background, and I mean he's really good. I mean he's He's not technically the most gifted, but he's a big, strong guy, and he's very entertaining too with it. He's definitely got the gift of the gab, so I enjoy watching him.
Okay. Micah wants to know, what was your worst match ever?
TLC 2011. I agree.
The original Sin Cara.
He never had a worse match, that's true.
It's probably a match that I would have lost in very short time. I think Sin Cara beat me 2 years ago with a crossbody in about 3 minutes.
That sucked.
I think I was the first guy in 20 years to lose to a crossbody, so I'd definitely say that's one of my worst ever matches, without doubt.
You still look good.
When are you finally going to compete in a match on TV?
Honestly, the way I see it, I'm pretty much retired right now. I'm kind of done with in-ring competition, and you know, unless Vince ups my money a little, I think I'll be staying that way. But I don't know, maybe I'll be back in there someday. But right now, I'm pretty much retired.
Okay. Ralph from Long Island asks, which match on the card at WrestleMania on Sunday is going to steal the show?
The one I'm looking forward to most of all has to be Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. Obviously, it's a stacked card anyway. There's going to be some great matches on there. But in my opinion, if you go back over the last 6 or maybe 7 years, going back to the Undertaker versus Edge match, and I think it was WrestleMania 25 or 26.
23. Y'all don't know.
Yeah, 24, you're right. Pretty much every year since that, I think the Undertaker's match has been the best on the card. It's been the most exciting, the most drama. So I want to see if we can top those, and I'm pretty sure he's going to go out there and do just that. So you know, that for me is the one I'm looking forward to most.
Awesome. And I know that there's a lot of you out there who have questions who did not have a chance to write the question down. Christian, equipped with microphone and a card, why don't I ask this question while you go out into the crowd. If you have a question, raise your hand. Christian will come to you with that microphone. In the meantime, Nate wants to know the funniest thing to happen to you on the road. And remember, this is PG rated, he says. So the PG rated.
The PG rating has just destroyed about 95% of the stories that I have. But probably my favorite story, which I don't think I've ever actually told this story, but it was the night that we did the Nexus attack down in Miami. We were in Tampa, Florida the next day for SmackDown, and we had to drive along a very dark, dingy road called Alligator Alley, which cuts it right the way across Florida. And I was actually driving with David Otunga at the time, and he was behind the wheel, I was sitting in the passenger seat, and I think he was half asleep. But as we're driving along this very dark, dingy road, suddenly I saw it, he didn't. There was a bump in the car, and we drove over something, and it was actually a giant alligator in the middle of the road. So that to me was a pretty cool memory. You know, it was an alligator in the road. It's dead now, but it's pretty funny.
Very peachy. We have time for one more question. Who has the best question?
I got the best question.
Well, he came all the way from Manchester.
Oh, okay.
That works.
Okay.
This is Jay. Jay, what's your question?
Just want to know what the difference is in your crowds. So between like working in America and when you come back to the UK, obviously we saw you in Manchester when you did the live show. So the difference in the crowd reception that you get, how do you feel about that?
I think the biggest difference is when we do shows in the UK, at least 50% of the audience is drunk, whereas in the US it seems to be a lot lower than that. But the obvious difference for me is that I get cheered really well out there, and I get booed pretty badly out here. So you know, I quite like both reactions, so I don't mind either way. But it's always cool for me going back home to the UK and wrestling over there and get my family there and stuff. So yeah.
Bad News Barrett is one of my favorite superstars. I want to thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Let's hear one more time for